Hello and welcome back to Clownfish TV. It is me, Geeky Sparkles, and today it is only me because Kneon sounds really bad and he's not well. So I'm going to be with you today and maybe with you tomorrow because he has a really bad voice right now. So we're going to talk today about Amazon. If you've been following the news, you probably heard about this. Employees are not happy because Amazon was basically telling them to get back to work 5 days a week. And that was announced like 3 weeks ago, I think, something like that, 4 weeks ago. Yeah, they said Amazon employees plead for reversal of 5-day mandate. So this has been going on for a while, but now it's gotten so bad that basically they're being told, you don't want it, then quit. So before we get into it any further, please like and subscribe. If you do, I'll give you a woohoo, and we're going to talk about this. So yes, about a month ago, I'm guessing, somewhere roughly around there, Amazon workers were refusing to disagree and commit as one of the company's famed leadership principles required of those who aren't on board with the decision. So they said they were telling people they had to return to a 5-day per week return to office mandate. And this is going to negatively impact their lives and productivity at work. I'm not really sure how that's going to negatively impact your productivity at work because it sounds like you'll be at work more often. And to me, the way it sounds reading through all this is what, a lot of people said. When people were working at home, they weren't working. Now, that's not the case for everyone. There's a lot of people who work at home and they get a lot of stuff done. I mean, Kneon used to do his job from home all the time, but it's very easy to get distracted. If you're not by yourself, if you have, kids or pets or things like that, stuff happens, it's understandable. But a lot of companies, were letting people work from home during the pandemic. Well, the pandemic's been returned to work for years now. And some places let people stay at home working, but a lot of places have asked them to come back. And this has all led to a lot of issues, especially for people in situations where they were told they could stay, work from home indefinitely. And then they went and moved someplace else. And then they said, oh, you have to come back to work again. In those instances, it caused a lot of problems. In this instance, people were already returning to work like 4 days a week or 3 days a week or whatever the heck it was. And now they're saying they need 5 days a week. I think it was a 3-day-a-week type situation, if I remember correctly. So they said feedback is from an anonymous survey created by Amazon employees and viewed by Fortune. So they made an anonymous survey and then sent it to Fortune. Among their own employees. Of course, the employees aren't going to like it. I like staying home 3 days, working in the office 3 days, staying home too. Most people are going to. It's understandable. I mean, obviously, people aren't going to like change. That's just common sense. They said corporate employees have shared it widely via message app Slack, including one remote advocacy Slack channel with more than 30,000 members that a former employee created when Amazon first announced a 3-day return to office mandate last year. That's right. They were told they had to get back to office last year for 3 days. And now they're pissed because now they have to go back to office 5 days? What do you think this is? A regular job? As a result, employees who are in favor of remote or hybrid work may have been more likely to respond to the survey and skew the findings. No shit. So people were mad. They were given there was a scale. They said the return to work mandate among survey respondents is 1.4 out of 5, with 1 strongly dissatisfied and 5 strongly satisfied. The survey's creators said in an introduction to their questionnaire, they plan to aggregate this and share the results by email with the CEO and other company executives to provide them with a clear insight into the impact of this policy on employees, including the challenges identified in the proposed solutions. Here's the thing, though. You guys tried this before with the having to go back to the office 3 days a week, and it didn't work. So we're seeking honest, constructive feedback on the recent decisions to require a 3-day return to the office schedule. A survey introduction reads, an Amazon spokesperson declined. This was like 3 weeks ago that this article was out, okay? So they're talking about, the CEO said, when we look back over the last 5 years, we continue to believe that the advantages of being together in the office are significant. I've previously explained these benefits, but in summary, we've observed that it's easier for our teammates to learn, model, practice and strengthen our culture, collaborating, brainstorming, and inventing are simpler and more effective. Teaching and learning from one another are more seamless, and teams tend to be better connected with one another. Basically, if you're working together in the same office and not half of you at home, so that they're mad about it. So fast forward till now. And basically, they did their survey. They sent it to the CEO and executives and all this shit. And Amazon, basically, their response was exactly what I thought it would be. They tell employees to quit. There are other companies you can go work for if you don't want to work here. And that is their prerogative. I mean, I get where people are coming from. I completely seriously do understand where they're coming from, because it went from you can work from home, then you have to be here 3 days, now you have to be here 5 days. Yeah, I get it. I get people would rather work from home. Understandable. I mean, who wouldn't? That being said, it's their company. A lot of companies until the pandemic made you work in office. That was how it was. Unless you were hired from the get-go as a remote worker, you were expected to be in the office. I also understand their point of view, where if people aren't together, they can't get shit done. And it's easy to get distracted when you're working from home. I mean, it makes sense. And they're not wrong. It's their office. They can mandate that. If you don't like it, you can go someplace else. Also not wrong. So I can see both sides of this issue. So they said one of Amazon's top executives defended the new 5 day per week in-office policy, you know, what everybody else calls a normal job, saying those who don't support it can leave. So there was an all-hands meeting for, I think it was AWS. I'm assuming that's Amazon warehouses or something. I don't know, AWS, whatever that is. It's the unit of Amazon. And the CEO, Matt Garman, said 9 out of 10 workers he has spoken with support the new policy, which takes effect in January. So they have time to find another job. Those who do not wish to comply can quit. If there are people who just don't work well in that environment and don't want to, that's okay. There are other companies around. So Amazon doesn't care. They're just like, you know what? No, you know, it's not working at 3 days a week. We need people together. It flows better. It's more, it's more conscious to our budget. You know, we get stuff done. It's less, you know, strain on finances and resources. If everybody's together, it's more seamless. We're wasting less time. We're getting shit done. We're coming into the holiday season, but this isn't going to take place till January. But I'm just saying, it's like there's a lot of stuff going on. It's easier if everybody's together to plan and coordinate and, you know, execute and get the jobs done. He's like, that's okay. You don't have to be there. And it sounds like this is something that they've been, you know, having a problem with for a while. So they've tried the 3 day and back to work, and now they're going to 5 because it seems like they keep having issues getting people to coordinate. When we want to really, really innovate on interesting products, I have not seen an ability for us to do that when we're not in person. This is what this CEO said. And the policy has upset many of Amazon's employees, according to New York Post, who says it wastes time in commuting and the benefits of working from the office are not supported by independent data. Okay, well, commuting time, I get, you know, who wants to commute? But if you're putting your time in anyway, the commuting isn't wasting time, because if you're putting your hours in anyway, whether you're commuting or whether you're at home, it just means that it's wasted time for the employee, not for the business. So I get where the employees are coming from. And honestly, if I could choose to do that, I would choose to do that too. I'm just saying, from the business standpoint, they're going to be like, well, that's part of the deal to have a job. So it is what it is. Amazon has been forcing a 3 day in-office policy, but they said they're going to go to the 5 day to invent, collaborate, and be connected. Some employees who are not previously compliant were told they were voluntarily resigning, and they're locked out of the company's systems. So they took it one step farther. If you weren't compliant, who were not previously compliant, I think this is back when they were going to 3 day, I'm assuming, they were basically told they were voluntarily resigning and locked out of the systems. I think we covered that last year, I want to say. I know we talked about it before. So they're talking about Amazon's the world's second largest private employer behind Walmart, has taken a harder line on return to office than many of its technology peers, such as Google, Meta, and Microsoft, who have 2 to 3 day in-office policies. Here's the thing, though, too. Like, the people that are complaining about it have the ability to do that. But we have a lot of people who work at Amazon who we've heard about the terrible conditions for people on the floor actually filling the orders and doing the act, you know, that kind of stuff. They have to work, you know, ridiculous hours, and there wasn't there like rooms that you can go in and scream, and the rates that they have to perform at are ridiculous. And it's kind of a little bit like, you know, check your privilege a little bit about some of these people whining because they have to go into the office 2 more days a week. You know, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think they're going to get much sympathy out of a lot of other people at the company when they're being like worked the way they're worked. And then you guys are just like, I don't want to go in 2 more days a week. I don't think they're going to garner much sympathy from people over this. So Amazon spokesperson declined to comment. The Garmin said, I am quite excited about this change. I know not everyone is, noting that it's hard to accomplish the company's goals with only mandated 3 days a week. He said, under the 3 day, we didn't really accomplish anything. Like, we didn't get to work together and learn from each other. He said the company's leadership principles, which dictate how Amazon ought to operate, were too difficult to adhere to under the 3 day a week policy. You can't internalize them by reading them on the website. You really have to experience them day to day. And I know Amazon's one that cracks the whip. They have one policy they use, disagree and commit, which is understood to mean that employees can express grievances, but then should dive into a project as outlined by leaders. Like, you're allowed to say, I don't like this, but if they go ahead and move forward to it or with it, you're supposed to, be part of it. It's not ideal for remote work. I don't know if you guys have tried to disagree via Chime. He referred to the company's internal messaging. It's very hard. So yeah, they're making you go back 5 days a week. People are mad about it. This guy's saying, hey, if you don't like it, there's other jobs. And that's what's going to happen, because we've seen it before with Amazon or other companies. If you didn't do it, then you're basically, non-compliant, and that means you're choosing not to work. So, and it is what it is. It sucks. I completely see both sides of this one. I really, truly do. But, they're within their right to say, hey, 5 days a week. And that's what most people have to do anyway. So there you go. Please like and subscribe, and it'll be me talking to you later. Bye.
Join the reef. Go to clownfish-.com. That's clownfish-.com. You will get exclusive access to podcasts and videos and comic strips and more, as well as merch discounts. Check it out. If you were a member, you could get this t-shirt, this dismal t-shirt, on our website. You'd get a 10% discount on that. You can also join in the community on clownfish-.com. Thank you so much for the support.